Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about Virtual's protocol because obviously we've seen price come down pretty dramatically over the past, I think, couple weeks. I think we've bled about $1 billion in market cap per week over about the past 4 weeks or so. So definitely down pretty rough. The overall crypto market, I would say, is down pretty rough just generally. But I just want to kind of go over a quick overview of kind of what we're seeing. And so what we can see if we do look at the crypto bubbles is we can see things not looking particularly great. Really red day in the market, coupled with a red week, quite red week as we can see, and then a red month also as well. XCN really kind of the only bright spot here. Everything else down pretty bad. As we can see, Virtuals here down about 66%. So things definitely looking a little bit rough. I think right now we're just seeing a lot of volatility within the crypto market. Obviously, we've seen a really strong pullback since kind of that top that we saw, I would say, like early to mid-December. So moving on, though, if we do look at the chart here, we can see, that it's basically been down only. We saw a little bit of a recovery here, but otherwise it's basically just only bled over the past, like I said, about month or so. And so if we continue to look, actually, we'll pull this up to full screen just so it's easier to see. But there's things that we've seen before that kind of look similar to this that I did want to go over. As we can see, we're basically pulling against the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. We are sitting in oversold. This chart looks very weak. So, that means one of two things. It's probably going to go to zero, or we could be seeing a turnaround. I think just given a lot of what we're seeing within the ecosystem and the market and a lot of that type of stuff so far, I do think it's looking very possible that we do actually see a reversal here. We're going to be going over some of that news today, but things definitely looking really rough. If we do look at the Bollinger Bands, these are some steep Bollinger Bands. Even if we look at this like moving average, moving down very dramatically. So not necessarily the best of news here. We did see kind of that mass liquidation wick down here. We saw kind of a bounce back up, but again, since then we've basically just bled back into the market, and we can see, we haven't actually come below that liquidation wick yet, but given the way we're trending, it's definitely selling off very hard. We're sitting here at about $1.20, almost down, as we could see, almost 80% from the highs. So this is definitely a really aggressive pullback. And so what I'm thinking is probably some of you are like, well, what do we do with this, right? This is definitely a really rough move. Is it over? And so I want to talk a little bit about kind of how this has looked in the past. And so if we look over here at the XRP chart, what we can see is we did, in the 2021 bull run, see something very similar. Obviously, most of the gains we did see up on this upside, and we did not actually see a return to a previous all-time high. So if that is to happen, then that would probably mean that we're not going to be seeing another all-time high. But again, who knows for sure. And if we look, we can actually even see, like, back before we saw the really crazy run up, we saw another move down about 80% here. So it's possible that we could even be here at this point and not even hear this late cycle. But essentially the point of all this is not to give price predictions per se, but this is to show that, we went down about 80% before we went up about another 1,000%. And this is on the XRP chart. Everybody basically knows XRP. So this is not, any sort of like micro coin or anything. XRP, we talk about, coming down to lows here to like 50 cents. It's like $3 now. So even if you would have just held, even if you would have top blasted here at, $1.96, like you'd still be, looking pretty nice based on what XRP is selling at currently. So, things looking good there. You can see 77% move to the downside here, 74% move to the downside here. And then after this first one, we were followed by 1,000% move to the upside. And then again, after the second move down, we were followed up by a smaller but still impressive 179% move to the upside. So really nice moves up here. I think this is that goes to show, particularly when we're dealing with smaller market cap coins in the crypto market, seeing a 70 to 80% move to the downside is not at all uncommon. This is just XRP. I'm sure I could find multiple different examples of this actually happening throughout different crypto coins in the space. But as we can see, sometimes they are followed by very impressive moves to the upside. And so now this is not for me to suggest that we could be seeing a 1,000% move, imminently, or 200% move or whatever imminently. I don't actually know that for sure, right? If we come back to the chart, I think there's a couple of different options here. If we'll just actually run a quick fib on this chart, and we'll see, again, assuming we found a bottom. We may not have found a bottom, but there's always that possibility that we have. assuming we found a bottom. This isn't exactly perfect, but this is kind of the fib lines that we're looking at here. So we can see the 382 kind of got rejected here recently, had a little bit of resistance here at the 0.5 as well. And then we also haven't really seen too much happening at any of these lines. The 236 kind of providing a little bit of liquidity as well here. But if we were to go and look to the upside here, you know, lots of different options. So I would say probably the first thing that we could see is probably a return to this like 618 level, which would be about $3.58. That is about a 3x from where we're at currently. Now, if we were to go up and hit the 2618 range, that's $11.70. That's a little bit over 10x. So that is a type of move that would have been comparable to kind of XRP after its first large move to the upside, or sorry, excuse me, large move to the downside. So there's a lot of different options here. Then we're looking at maybe $15, and then all the way up here at 4236, about $18. To me, the 2618 probably seems the most reasonable. Again, if we even do recover, I think a lot of this is going to be predicated largely on an alt season, in my opinion. I don't know this for sure, but I think a lot of what we're seeing from the virtuals community and the virtuals ecosystem makes a lot of sense. It looks good. If you are wanting to trade virtuals, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, virtuals is getting into Solana. They kind of originated on Base, but are actually getting into Solana now. If you are interested, I do have that link to BTCC in the description below. It's a 10% bonus on first-time deposits, so a really, really good deal. Also, extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So BTCC is basically willing to throw a whole bunch of money at you if that is something that you are interested in. And then also up to no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that's interesting to you. I know there are a lot of people who that's actually very important. So they have that option as well if that is something that you are interested in. Now, moving on, looking at X, what we can see is this is kind of one of those like meta moments, right? Where we see AIXBT talking about the virtuals protocol, and AIXBT is actually an AI agent that writes its own tweets that is built off the virtuals protocol. So a little funny there, but we can see virtuals protocol expanding to Solana, which is true. I mean, this is very, very big news. I think this is actually a fundamentally really strong thing for the virtuals protocol overall. We can also see integrating with the Wasabi protocol and building a strategic soul reserve. Again, always good to hold kind of the coins of the larger ecosystem, in my opinion. Down 67% in 30 days with token supply increasing via buyback. So we can also see here, Meteor launch pool with 1% trading fees converted to Sol Reserve, chain abstraction swaps coming, Sol for base agents, ETH for Sol agents, and then grants and all that type of stuff for builders. So you can see that like Virtuals has taken kind of the staggering amount of money that they've made over the past 3 months, I guess I would say. They've taken a lot of that money that they've made, and now they're trying to deploy it to kind of continue that growth on their ecosystem. And so overall, I do think that that's a really, really good thing for us to see. And I'm pretty encouraged that we will potentially see kind of a little bit of a turnaround if we do get a little bit of that alt season that we're kind of all hoping for. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes. But overall, hopefully you did find the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really, really does help me out. Hopefully you found, like I said, you found it helpful. Also, I'd love to hear your comments. Did you enjoy it? Did you find, what'd you like? Would you dislike? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think virtuals are dead? Do you think it's just the beginning of something bigger? What do we got going on here, right? And so I'd love to hear from you on all that. I also do really appreciate all the things that, all the input that you guys have and a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.